It seems every week that more and more research is coming out saying that New Zealanders are kind of okay with cannabis, marijuana, cannabis, whatever you want to call it. Just this week gone by, Courier Research has put out some information that basically say, nutshelling it, that about 2/3 of New Zealanders are okay with either decriminalising or legalising marijuana, and upwards of 85% of people are okay with medicinal marijuana. So John Key visited Radio New Zealand the other day, was talking to Guy and Espiner. They basically asked him, 2/3 of New Zealand want to see this decriminalised or legalised. What do you think about that? He said this.
Well, I've got to say I'm not a massive fan. It's been my long-standing view, really, that one of the things that Parliament does is send a message to people about activity we want to see or not want to see. And in the case of drugs, I think if we were, as a Parliament, were to decriminalise, then one of the messages we'd be sending is that increased drug use is okay.
So he's basically saying, we don't think that we want to encourage and maybe broadcast that increased drug use is okay.
What he's saying is not on my watch. It ain't happening with me.
Well, we'll get back to that shortly, but let's just have a look what all the political parties are saying about this. There's sorts of two questions here. One is the decriminalised. Now, let's also just spell this out without being patronising for people who don't quite understand the difference. Decriminalising marijuana would be, it's still kind of against the rules, but you might get a fine or or it'll be a misdemeanor. It won't be a criminal record. Obviously, legalising it, that's go for
carte blanche.
Right? So they're the two differences. John Key later in that same interview said this. He said, "You show me the communities who want to put their hand up and say, I want a tinny house at the end of my street." So obviously he's saying, this would still be sold out of tinny houses. People aren't going to want that. Let's just go through these quickly. The Greens, they say this: "I'm looking forward to the day the Green Party is part of the government, and we'll be advocating for that." We'll go straight into Labour. Labour, interesting. They say we've been clear about our priorities, and actually I don't think the Greens will even disagree that the types of priorities we are talking about are their priorities too. We can have a talk about it, but what it will come down to where the priorities are now. Gosh, that's a clunky sentence. How many times did you say priorities and talk on that?
That is a clunker. There's no doubt about that.
But look, just to summarise, I know what Andrew Little is thinking. He is basically saying we're going to do medicinal marijuana straight away. That's no deal. And he said in an interview that he wasn't keen to see marijuana decriminalised or legalised. So they're kind of saying no to that as well. We can go through the rest of those later on, but let's get to the conversation of it right now. In fact, let's throw up the actual poll that was done by Courier. And Courier, you can see very clearly that making just marijuana illegal or decriminalised is about 2/3 of the people. If you want to grow a small amount for personal use, that's still up over 50% of people are either saying decriminalised or legalised. Giving it to your friends, they're very anti. Only about 1 in 5 New Zealanders want to see that. Medicinal reasons like pain relief, close to 80% of people say that's okay. And pain relief if you have a terminal illness, 84% of the population either want to see it decriminalised or legalised.
Yeah, so what you're effectively seeing here from these numbers, as far as I can ascertain, is the fact that people don't really have a problem with obviously the medicinal use of it. They don't have a problem if someone's in the privacy of their own house or whatever with it either. What they tend to have a problem with is the selling of it, I think,
or even passing it on.
Yeah, absolutely. That sort of aspect too. I guess the dealing sort of aspect is where people are still uncomfortable, because that's a whole unknown in terms of the underground and gangs, all that sort of stuff, etc. But I think the mood is certainly shifting towards a much more relaxed attitude to cannabis.
So here's the thing, right? And this is a bit of a prediction for the next 12 months. This national government that we've got right now is probably one of the most populist political parties we've ever had. But they're also incredibly careful. They do their research. They poll people, they look behind the scenes, and they make sure it's what people want. I would bet dollars to donuts that if nothing else, because nearly 9 in 10 people are okay with decriminalising or legalising marijuana if you are about to die, that before the next election you'll see National take a position to say yes to that, and you'll see them softening on the decriminalising or legalising of marijuana, in total as well. They do often. Especially when it's not really a bottom line towards money or a budgetary thing, they tend to listen to the people. They make a populist policy and they get voted back in. I think you'll see them going this way, or at least softening towards this way in the next 12 months.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's exactly what will happen, and more of these polls that come out showing similar numbers, Pat, will certainly make them not necessarily force their hand, but think about it.